By now, you should be able to identify or find 4 different kinds of words or parts of speech. We've studied 4 kinds of words. You should know what nouns are. Nouns are people, places, things, or ideas in sentences. You should know the 2 general kinds of verbs. There's action verbs, people doing something, or things or ideas that do something. And there's being verbs, verbs that help us identify or find out what kind of noun we're talking about. We've also studied adjectives. Adjectives are words that help us describe nouns. Remember, to describe is to go from something very general to something more and more specific in terms of our idea. So to go from many to only one. Adverbs are also describing words, but they don't describe nouns. They never describe nouns. Sorry. Adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. So let's try and find these 4 kinds of words in our sentences. Let's look at our first sentence. The English teacher is really hairy, but who wrote this? I I guess it's true. Well, let's work with it. The English teacher is really hairy. Can anyone find the verb in this sentence? I'm going to start you off with a little bit of help. This little word here is always a verb. Is, am, are, was, and were are the be verb. And if you can find them in your sentences, it will be really helpful. The be verb helps us get more information or identify a noun. So we know on this side of the sentence, there must be a noun. The is not a noun. The is a kind of adjective called an article. There's only 3 articles: a, an, the. These help us identify nouns. So can I say the English is really hairy? Does that make sense? In this sentence, English can't be a noun. I could say the teacher is really hairy. Teacher must be our noun. English is the adjective that tells me what kind of teacher. Not the math teacher, the English teacher. The English teacher is really. That doesn't work. But I could say the English teacher is hairy. Hairy is the adjective that gives us more information about the noun. Really tells us how hairy. Really is the adverb. Let's look at our second sentence. The quiet mouse suddenly saw the cat. Here it can be a little harder to find the verb, but I bet you know a couple of the nouns in this sentence. One noun is really easy. It comes at the very end. Cat. And we know that the is an article. It's a kind of adjective. You probably know this word too. This is our other noun. The mouse, the cat. So here, we can figure out that quiet is describing the mouse, and now we have a little bit of trouble. Which one of these 2 words is our verb? Well, I'm going to give you another hint. Whenever you see ly at the end of a word, it's a good sign that that's an adverb. Not all ly words are adverbs, and not all adverbs end in ly, but it's a pretty good guess if you're stuck. That means saw must be our verb. I see. Saw is the past tense of see. So our final thought, the quiet mouse suddenly saw the cat. Now, you get to try. But first, let's review.
Identifying kinds of words. What are nouns? Nouns are people, places, things, or ideas in sentences. What are the two main kinds of verbs? The two main kinds of verbs are action verbs and being verbs. What does describing do? Describing helps identify one out of many. What kinds of words do adverbs never describe? Adverbs never describe nouns. What are the four kinds of words we have studied so far? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs are the four kinds of words studied so far. What are 5 words that are the be verbs in sentences? Is, am, are, was, and were are the be verbs in sentences. What are the 3 articles? A, an, and the are the 3 articles. What is a big hint in identifying most adverbs? Most adverbs end in ly. In the last example sentence, what is the word saw? In the last sentence, the word saw is the past tense of the verb to see.